Hi, and welcome to Stimming in Stilettos with Dr. Tasha, and Happy New Year. So it is 2026, and I don't think we've spoken since 2025. So we are starting off our year with, again, another great guest, because you know how I do it. And her name is Jess Burney, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited, but again, welcome to the show, Jess. I'm so happy that you said yes to my invitation. Thank you for agreeing.
Thank you for the invitation. Yeah.
Not no problem. No problem at all. Okay. So, let's just get it started.
Okay.
So, Jess, tell us your story. Tell us your STEM story. Tell us who you are, what you're about. What is your STEM story?
Okay. So my STEM story started at 7. I had the mindset of I'm going to be a doctor that delivers babies. That was my 7-year-old focus.
Wow.
And it drove everything that I decided to do thereafter. It was the reason I attended Emory. And however, I feel like my story, if I had to give it a theme, it would be purposeful pivots. It's
Love
That's been
that.
my life's thing, just because that was the goal, was to become a doctor. However, because of purposeful pivots and how life, I discovered that I do not like the smell of formaldehyde nor dealing with cadavers.
Oh,
Um, at the ripe age of 20. So,
okay.
um, but I spent so much time. I became a CNA in high school. I shadowed doctors. I did internships. So I was at a really pivotal place at the age of 20 to figure out what am I going to do now that I have discovered that I don't want to be a doctor. And that led me to psychology and fell in love with psychology, fell in love with the process of supporting people as they go through life changes and different things like that. However, in 2020 or 2008, that's when I graduated college and grad school was not an option. So I decided to take a couple of years and teach. And in that time, fell in love with just working with our babies
Hmm.
and decided to get my master's. And I specialized in mathematics. So Q still the nerd in me, the mathematician, the STEM geek, because I wanted to make sure that our children felt empowered by math. Oftentimes you'll hear people say things like, "Oh, I'm not good at math. I'm not a math person."
Hmm.
And I say, now, would you say that about reading? Nobody
Mm.
says I'm not a reading person. It's like, but math is all around you, right? So,
Right.
but I said, but what people don't like is being intimidated by math. And that became my mission to change the way that children and ultimately adults that I've coached and supported have, spoke about their experiences with mathematics. And so I became a math specialist
Love
and
this.
for 10 years, designed curriculum, have trained teachers in states all across the country to share the love of mathematics, but also make sure that children had the conceptual understandings and procedural fluency that they needed to be successful, because ultimately we know that when children don't have a solid foundation, that they're not able to access more advanced math courses that allow them to participate in STEM careers. So
Okay.
that became
So
my focus.
I
Yeah.
I got questions. I
Yeah.
got questions. So, okay. So I mean, this audience has heard my story 5 times, 10 times, 100, 10x, right?
Okay.
So everybody knows I love math. Taught math and when I left engineering to become a teacher, taught math, everything from general mathematics on up to AP calculus and AP stats. Um, Written curriculum, doing things. So it's like, oh my God, I found my sister. I found my soul sister. I found her. Y'all, I found her. Here she is. But I do have questions. So I want to go back. I want to go back.
Okay.
So at 7, what happened to make you so interested in wanting to be a baby doctor in essence, you know?
I mean, I definitely had some young adverse experiences as a child. Grew up in a pretty impoverished community. And so I always just wanted to take care of children and help children. I mean, we are the most vulnerable, our children are the most vulnerable of people that we have in our communities. And, I can almost say, I'm like, looking back at 7, I just thought babies were cute, but I also knew that a lot of people lost their babies. And I can't remember exactly who I saw pregnant or experienced some complications, but I didn't see many doctors that looked like me.
Yeah.
That was my main thing of just being like, oh, well, when I go to the doctor, there's no doctor that looks like me. I switched it to being a pediatrician. So
Hmm.
that was the thing of having somebody that children are comfortable talking to, opening up to, and treating them became a mission for me. So I think, it was more so like a children's doctor, but
Got it. No, I mean that actually makes sense. I mean, I grew up in inner city Atlanta before we moved to the country. And I mean, we moved, it was like going from like Stark to Stark.
I mean, okay, so I have a similar story. Born here in Atlanta, but then
Mhm.
we moved to deep south, a place called Hawkinsville. Not sure if
Mhm.
you deep south. Like, yeah, it's a one horse town.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
so I get that, it's like, well, where are all of the people who look like me? And especially since I went, what my younger years, on up to about 8, where
mhm.
everybody looked like me, except for my teachers. My teachers didn't, but like all of my friends, the people in my neighborhood all looked like me. And then we moved to the country where like nobody looked like me. And so it was just this stark change of everything that I knew, and or what I thought I knew. So I can understand this, idea, like where are all of our people? Like why can't I see any of us out here? As a matter of fact, I me, my sister, my brother, and 2 other Black people integrated our elementary school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
See,
that tells you how it was.
tells you
And
how I was like Black history is not that much of a history, is it?
I say that. So then you get all the way to med school. You're in there. You're interning. You're doing the thing, and so
Oh,
like what?
sophomore year. So I didn't make it to med school.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Sorry,
made
you're
it
doing the intern.
to internship. Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
I
I think that's a good thing, no, that you didn't
oh,
necessarily get in, or go any further once you realized this ain't it.
it was not it. Yeah, anatomy and physiology and physics and but really anatomy and physiology second semester. That was the catalyst of being like, yeah, I gotta smell this all the time. We gotta deal with this and just like no, I don't want the smells because when I had the internship, and that's also because I knew you had to be an OB/GYN if you wanted to do them together. And I shadowed an OB/GYN in high school. And I mean, she fully immersed me. I saw a baby born stillborn. I had to take out staplers. I was in surgery with her. I saw appointments that I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't be here, but she just wanted me to really face the realities. And she looked just like me. I mean, we even had the same last name, which was so cool in high school to be like, oh, okay, I'm working like Dr. My former name is Watson. So it was just really cool to work with her, but she didn't shield me from any of the realities. I think the in college it became more so just getting through that coursework, and Emory was intense. It was a place that made doctors, or
Yes.
this. But so I was like, oh, I gotta make this pivot, and what am I gonna do? And I went to therapy, and therapy helped me sort it out, and then also some psychology classes that I really enjoyed helped me kind of figure out like, oh, This is more of the path, understanding how people think, how they learn, motivation, resilience, all of those things that really help us kind of thrive as people.
Okay, so then at some point you started teaching math. Was it middle school or high school or
No,
elementary?
I taught elementary math.
You like the little babies.
I, well, okay, I'm not gonna say that. I started, which I've taught all grades K-8, but kindergarten was the hardest. I don't care what anybody tells you. Kindergarten is the hardest grade to teach because you are laying a foundation, and to try to teach people how to think. I will never forget a baby asking me, "How do I think?" And I said, "Well, right." So I said, "Okay, what's your favorite food? You got a picture in your head?" I was like, "What? Okay, what's the picture that you see?" I'm like, "Pizza." I said, "Okay, what's on the pizza?" So we went through that process. I was like, "You're thinking. What you're doing right now is thinking."
Lord. Yeah. I knew from the jump, like when I said, I think I want to go teach, I said, yeah, not, mm-mm. The baby's not it for me.
I started at third grade, and I think
Mm.
that's what made me so passionate. I mean, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit, going maybe a little
Go,
tangent.
no, go ahead. Let's do it.
This is what got me into this field, because they use third grade reading scores to determine how many, to project how many prisons, right? So literacy
Absolutely.
is directly tied to crime. And I used to tell my students all the time, I'm trying to stand between you and a prison cell. Me educating you is providing you with opportunities so that a person cannot profit off of your lack of knowledge.
Oof. I knew that. And I know, so third grade is a pivotal year for everybody
Yeah,
who is listening to this conversation. Third grade is so pivotal on so many different fronts. Um, it's the year that boys check out, especially as we're talking about in terms of math. Third grade is that year, and so we don't have a lot of time.
you don't have a lot of
we
time.
we do
Don't
not
have a
have
lot.
a lot. I mean, third grade, y'all. That means that he's 9 years old,
Eight or
eight or
nine,
nine, and
and
it.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. We were probably gonna say the
Okay,
same
and
thing.
they go from having to learn to read to reading to learn.
Yes,
And if they don't have that foundation, then how am I supposed to even, how will I have access to understanding science or mathematics? Or because math is a language in and of itself,
correct. It
right?
is. I
Um,
think that's
and
actually a lost art. As I'm
yeah,
teaching, and you can tell me your thoughts on this. So I'm teaching math right now to some students, and I said the same thing to them. I said, algebra is algebra, it's a language, and we're going to speak it correctly. So it's not the thing. It's not the. It's we are solving the equation for a solution. We are using the right and correct terminology that goes along with the math that we are doing. And
as-
it's like they know what to do, but they don't have the language to explain it correctly.
and that is something, that's why K-5 matters so much. That foundation, making sure that they have those standards of mathematical practice down pat, right? Being a mathematician, I tell all my students we're all mathematicians. So we're going to use the correct language. It
Yeah.
is this is a numerical expression to your
Yes.
point. These
Yes.
are variables. This is the solution to the equation, or this is the quotient or the product,
Yep.
right? These add-ins, so I'm constantly reinforcing the language that I want them to use. I make sure we have visuals, they have multiple examples, multiple representations. Again, I took an entire year in my master's to specialize in mathematics, every domain of mathematics, because I really wanted to make sure that when I stood in front of people's children, I didn't say things like, oh
You,
gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh gosh,
you
carry the
can't
one.
even. Huh?
I know.
Oh, yes, carry the one. Right,
Oh,
right.
I'm like, no, we don't
Where are you
carry.
carrying it? Where's it going?
Where's it going? Not a one. We're regrouping. But but if they don't have that stuff, sorry, I've done this and I've trained educators all over, and they've seen me when I have them come up to explain how they solve a problem. I'm like, what did you say? Like, no, stop, pause, flag. We're not carrying anything. But if we as adults don't have a solid foundation, right? I mean, I can the amount of teachers that have told me I'm not a math person. I'm like, but you're teaching people's children math.
Girl, you have said a whole mouthful. I can recall having a conversation with somebody that I love dearly. I mean, I love her, and she is an elementary school teacher. But when she said that to me, I literally said to her, "I would never want my kids in your class." And she got really offended, but I was like, no, ma'am. If you don't love math that or you don't even have an affinity for or you don't, all of that, that's your mindset. That means that when you teach it, it's gonna be the bare minimum. That's it, and that's all. And I'm like, kids need more than that.
Exactly. Exactly. You are doing them a disservice. Get from in front of people's children. You are not going to set up. I'm serious. Or go somewhere and get some professional development. It is not okay for us to tell children that because, again, like you said, they will skim over it. It will be something to get through. They will, I mean, and I've coached thousands of teachers at this point. And that is the thing that I come in and I'm like, you're going to have to go back and kind of, reteach this or teach a different thing. Some people only have one strategy. I
Yeah.
think about teaching long division or
Mm.
or PEMDAS. When people use
What? Speak on that. Because people still get this not in it's so foreign that the idea that it's the matter of where in the operation that the multiplication the division is that it's not multiplication and then divide. It is what is the order
of
in
the
the operation.
but even that comes from understanding what the standard is asking or what you're supposed to be like order of operations. Please,
Yeah.
I literally tell them if I come in your class and you have that, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally up there. I'm looking at you like this. Really?
Ah,
Get that from one of these children. I mean, unless you have taught the conceptual understanding, then you can teach them that kind of
what
what
is
is it
it?
called?
A pneumatic, a new, yeah.
Mnemonic or something like that.
Mnemonic. Yes, mnemonic. Mm-hmm.
Mnemonic. Then you can teach them that. But if you have not set a foundation of conceptual understanding, don't go. But that's what most people do. Most people go straight to procedural fluency. And so you have so many people, similar to what you will see in reading, right? There are a lot of people who can word call, but they do not comprehend.
Oof.
You can see the same thing with children where they can say 2 times 3 is 6, but they can't tell you what that means. They can't tell you that I have two groups of 3
Yes.
and and combined the product is 6. They can't show you an example of it. They just know, I just know the facts because
Right.
somebody made me sing the song 2, 4, 6, 8.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
digress.
no. We're full in it. Like I agree with this, and it's um, I don't want to use the word hard, but maybe hard is the word. It's difficult when you get a group of students who come into your classroom with all the varying levels to
Absolutely.
know as a teacher, and I'm talking to somebody who I consider myself to be a veteran teacher. Sometimes, like I had the students that I'm teaching do a diagnostic, an impromptu, informal diagnostic. I'm going to put some 1-step, 2-step equations on this board, on the virtual board that I have, and I'm going to see what your ability is. And I did it 2 ways. One, you are going to solve these on your own little virtual board that only I can see. And then we're going to talk through this as a class with each person giving me a piece of the puzzle, right? Because we had that many problems, right? And I said, because I need to understand what I'm working with and how we can, and then formulate a plan on how we move forward, every single one of us from wherever you are, because that's the goal at the end of the day. Like if you're on, a step 2, and I need you to get to step 5 by the end of the semester. Okay, well, how are we going to get there if I don't know where we're starting? So
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, yeah, I've been, my last year in the classroom, I taught fifth grade math, the entire grade level. And I had some students who were on level,
yeah.
very few, but the majority were 2 to 4 grade levels behind. But you still have to teach to the standard. Yeah,
So,
right here, Metro Atlanta. I mean,
so let me ask a question to you. What role did COVID play?
a diabolical one. I mean, because children were already struggling, they were already behind. COVID widened the gap. If you did not have adequate access to one, the technology,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or have somebody to make sure you were paying attention. And then you might have had a person or a teacher who was simply, to our point of going through the motions, because they're trying to figure out virtual learning, keeping children's attention, managing children popping on and off mute.
Mm-hmm.
I coached during COVID, so I saw it all, And then you got to think about the other piece of there were some children, for example, high schoolers and middle school children who were trying to help their younger siblings stay on task and stay in front of the screen because some parents still had to work.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I was working from home and I had a second grader who could code, he knew how to split the screen and have the teacher here and have YouTube there. And I mean, it was just like,
Wait a minute. Use your powers for good.
come on, focus. But I think that was the thing. If children were already checked out before, they already did not have that confidence, or it wasn't their favorite subject, or they just didn't have that support to help them with their homework, or to have after school, to have somebody or to have tutoring,
Yeah.
then they got further and further behind. One thing that I did post COVID, I guess it was still COVID, 2021 till about 2024, I was a virtual tutor of mathematics for children in Prince George, Maryland,
Mm.
because they saw some of the most dire, like none of the students, I believe I'm correct in saying this, none of their students in high school were proficient. We're like eighth grade proficient. So you're talking about every child who reached high school in 2021, none of them even had the basic foundation of mathematics to succeed in an algebra class or a pre-algebra, but yeah, an algebra class. And so their solution was to use some of the funds that they received to pour into kindergarten through eighth grade to receive tutors. And we supported them really one-to-one, 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and just going over some of those basic skills that they needed based on those diagnostics. So to your point, that's vital. I mean, people have their feelings about iReady or different curriculums, but we got to start from somewhere, and having those numbers to tell us where our students are coming in, and then giving them a goal, focusing on growth, right? I mean, if you're 2 to 3 grade levels behind, if I can just catch you up 1 to 2 grade levels before the end of the semester or the end of the year, we've at least made some progress.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay, so
Of course.
I have more questions. I think they're more. No, I'm relying on your expertise. Where do you see what's the next, I guess, big thing in math do you see? Like what are the expectations? So if I'm a veteran teacher be if I'm a first year teacher, and
Mm.
I'm teaching math, what, and I know those are sort of that's two separate things for real, but I really want to know, like, what's the future of math? Like, what, in terms of teaching it, how do we need to approach it? Like, what is the mindset we need to have as a math educator?
I think so. I'm going to do my best to answer that in both ways, right? So I think if I'm a first year teacher, I hate when people use the term new math. I'm like, it's not new math. It's just a different way of teaching it, or teaching it so that children can truly understand it.
Yes.
So if I'm a new teacher, I need to position myself as a learner. I
Mm.
need to make sure that I understand the concepts. I had to study. When I started teaching, I would go over my questions. I tell every teacher this: you must take the test before you start to teach the unit. If you don't take that unit assessment and see what your students are up against, then you are not going to make sure that they are ready and prepared. You're going to just go through some standards and you're going to do them a disservice. We must take the test first.
Wow.
That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we have to engage our children in number talks. You won't know where they are if you are math talks, but you won't know where they are and what concepts they understand or don't if you don't fully engage them. They have to speak the language and
Yes.
you have to model it.
Yeah.
That's the best thing for a first year teacher. Make sure you have your vocabulary, you understand what you're talking about when you get up in front of people's children. Number one. I mean, everybody, even if you're a vet,
Yeah.
but definitely as a first year, you practice those problems. The first time doing a problem, especially if you're modeling it, should not be when you're in front of the students. You
Mm.
have to do your homework too.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense. Okay, so veterans.
so veteran teachers, a lot of my coaching with veteran teachers is unlearning.
Ooh.
Just because you had a teacher who gave you page 375, do the odd problems. We know it's out there. I know I'm
and then
talking to somebody.
and then the next day you do the even problem.
And
Yeah.
then you do the even problems, or I'm going to show you this one time. You need to be paying attention. I'm going to show you this one way, one time, and then you go and be great. We have to be open to the fact that children learn in a variety of ways. We have to attend to learning styles. I'm a big stats person. So this particular data point changed how I like the mind. So we think about the mindset, right? 80% of high school dropouts are hands-on tactile learners.
Yeah.
80%. But as children get older, what do we take away from them?
Yeah.
Manipulatives. We
Correct.
take
Because
away their
they
ability,
should know it. They don't need all that.
and that is problematic. Fully engage them. Let them put their hands on it as much as possible. We need to move. Children need experiences with the concrete to pictorial to abstract.
Yeah.
If we have that mindset of if I'm going to prevent this child from saying at 16 when they legally can, I'm not good at this, I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll go get my GED. They may not even do that. But if we want to give them access, we have to change our mindset and say, okay, how can I approach this child even if I wasn't taught that way? So you're going to have to do some learning. You're going to have to do some unlearning and then some learning about multiple ways to teach it. And it's not about new math. It's not about this Common Core. It's about standards of mathematical practice.
Oof. I love that so much. I just I love that so much. I love what you just said about students having, should be able to like see it, feel it, touch it, all that, be immersed in it in all of the different ways in which they can, because like, I feel like I'm a hands-on learner. Like I gotta do it, right? I gotta get in there, and for in my mind for it to click, right? And
Multiple times.
and and I attribute that to like what, well, a myriad of things, but I feel like because my dad was a mechanic, and literally my dad, I always tell people my dad was a math genius. Like he could literally do complex math problems in his head and be right. But he also was in a profession where he had to be precise, right? And because he built custom engines for race cars. So because he did that, he's like shaving and cutting and welding and doing all these things that required you to
It's
have
math,
correct.
angles, geometry. I mean, trig. I mean, all of that is in there. That
Yeah,
is STEM. That engineering is math. I mean, if you don't slice that thing right, you,
correct. That
I
and
mean,
that's what I know to be true. And for some people have a math mind, like it's innate, like they understand it in an abstract way where they can bring it down to like it's 2 + 2 = 4, right? They those are those folks. But for the rest of us, it's understanding how and the why of it so
absolutely.
that you can say that 2 + 2 = 4 and actually understand
And prove
why.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh I feel like we could talk for a couple.
We could. Let's once you get me started. All my friends say, okay, Jess is about to nerd out. Because I do. It is so important. Um, you know, like I said, for our children to have access to STEM courses,
Yes.
and to be college ready. I've taught ACT prep. And a lot of children, I mean, when we start teaching them how to solve those different problems, because it's a time crunch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Focus on the cherry, you cherry pick and all these different things. But oftentimes, our children, if they see a letter, they are like, I'm not solving that.
I
If they
know.
see
Or
a
some fractions
decimal
or
or
decimals.
fraction, and I'm like, a fraction is a decimal and a decimal is a fraction. So whichever one you're more comfortable with, just flip it around, or change it. But
Mhm.
then teaching them procedure, that's where that procedural fluency. How do I do that? Right? How do I change a fraction to a decimal?
Yeah.
How do I find the percentage of something?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so we definitely could talk all day about this, but
Okay, so I got again a couple more questions. One, if you had to choose, and this may be unfair, maybe unfair. If you had to choose, which math subject is your favorite and why?
like domain
I
or just
mean, I'm talking like geometry, algebra 2, trig, calc, stats, maybe it's finance. I don't know.
I think, I would not say geometry, probably trig.
Oh, trig is fun. Trig is
I think if I had to
fun.
choose any one of you, made me do it every like it was like, okay, Jess, you gotta, yeah, trig. Um, I didn't always feel that way, but
Trust.
probably algebra. I would say algebra because I mean I'm just like it's just a variable. It's just an unknown. You're just solving for an unknown. Like it's simple. It's simple.
Well, okay, so going back to algebra, the thing is that I mean, so are we talking like algebra 1, algebra 2, or just algebra in general? Because algebra 2 gets a little complicated.
I'm not big on algebra two. I'm big on algebra two. I'm not going to algebra two. I have to go back and study. Like, wait a minute. Okay, let me make sure I got this. Where is the calculator? Even teaching the children how to use that calculator is
Is it yeah, it's
it's
a
a
whole
whole thing.
thing, right?
Model. That's what I would tell both teachers, first and veteran. Model everything. If
Yeah.
you think that they probably know how to do it, they don't. Just show them. Just show them.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
yeah, I mean trig is so fascinating to me. Geometry is my favorite, but
Really?
trig, yeah, I just loved proving things, right? Even if
Okay.
it was abstract, right?
Okay.
For me, that was the thing that caught me. Like when we had to do proofs, I was like, oh yeah, like this is it. And they don't even really in geometry, they don't really even really teach proofs anymore.
They don't really do it anymore. I was like, maybe stats then. I might go back and change my answer. Because I quote them a lot and I'm always like, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So what are the numbers? Like show me the
I mean,
numbers.
but I thought you were gonna say stats because I'm
I,
like,
I
Jess
kind of
is you the
I,
expert in this area.
I've been
Okay.
I've been dropping stats, right? The whole time.
Right.
I was like, actually, let me check. I had to sit with that question a little bit more. I think stats. I would probably choose stats.
It makes sense. It makes
And
sense.
I didn't always feel that way, but once I started doing research, so, having a major is psychology, you have to research, you have to have
Yeah.
those control groups, and, they got the outliers and all of those things. So I probably would choose stats based on
That,
just kind of what I chose to go into. But what I love to tutor is elementary. So just that
yeah.
basic foundation, making sure you have that love of fractions and, all of your facts, multiplication, division, just setting that foundation, making sure that's solid is what I love to do.
I can
Um,
see that because having tutored middle school and high school and actually taught both of those, um,
yeah,
it's harder because they already have these preconceived notions about what their
their ability.
ability is, right? And it's like, and it's sometimes it's so untrue. Like I'm talking, especially for girls, because we were talking about girls and like math. Their math identity is like really um it's just really complex. It's more complex than we actually give it credit for. So how I'm not good in math, I'm more likely to hear that from a woman than I am from a man or from a
Actually
girl
are, and that
than
is
a
by
boy.
design.
It
That
is
is
by design, but girls do have high math IQ. When we pair them head to head with boys, we know that they have the opportunity and the ability to shine with or outshine boys.
outshine. I mean, we do, women in general do, we do more mathematical reasoning than a man in a day.
Yeah,
The way I had to backwards plan today on that is all math. I had
come
to think about
on, come on,
this,
say
this
it.
hair. Like when we talked the other day, this hair did not look like this. I had
That's
to do all
true.
types of mathematics to figure out, okay, when I'm going to start, the angle, you know. But I mean, we make so many different choices throughout the day that we don't even understand are math related. And then when I uh for girls, especially for black and brown girls, I have mathematicians and scientists all around them. I'm like, y'all, like, okay, hidden figures, yes, but then also look at what you're holding in your hand. Black woman,
Yeah.
science, the internet, the security system, black woman, scientists, by the mathematicians, all of these people. Who told you that you were not capable? That's the
Yeah.
question. And I would encourage, and I used to encourage a lot of teachers, get a mirror, put it in your room, in your classroom, and you put the title, "This is what a mathematician looks like." And
Mhm.
you make the children look in the mirror, because that's what it looks like. It looks like you.
I love that so, so much.
Yeah. We
Okay.
have to build their confidence first. And so that's why I like K5, because
Yeah.
I can get to them before somebody destroyed their confidence, before they, even parents. I tell, you have to tell parents and parents conferences, please don't say that again. Say
Yeah.
that you like to be confused by math. Say that maybe you didn't have the support you needed when you were younger, but don't give your child the opportunity to opt out just because you struggled.
Oh, that's a whole word.
Bars.
That is a whole
Yes.
word. You have bars, ma'am. That was perfect. Um, we will. So, what I want to ask now is, where can people find you if they're looking for you? Because they're going to be looking for you after this. They're going to be like, we need her at our school. We need her. Okay.
So LinkedIn, of course, just like I found you,
Mhm.
Jess Burney on LinkedIn. So you can definitely find me there. Let's see. I'm an executive coach as well. So I'm an executive coach and a consultant. And so my business is tailored holistic coaching. And I assist professionals as they make career pivots and changes, whether they're by choice or by necessity.
Yeah.
And I also go into schools and districts and do curriculum work, whether it's creating systems of accountability, whether it's observations, whether it is professional development, because again, I inspect what I expect. So I go in and train you first, and then I come and make sure that you are executing these, curriculum as it's needed, and especially using your data. So people can find me on LinkedIn. They can email me, Jess Burney at tailoredholisticcoaching.org. Yeah.
Okay, good. So all of her information will be in the show notes. Again, as I tell you guys all of the time, the information will be in the show notes, which means that you actually have to read the show notes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I say it every show. Say it every show. Okay. All right. So last question, and this is the question that I ask every single guest on every single show. And it is, if you had to travel back, or if you could travel back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give her and why?
Yeah. So if I had to travel back and talk to that little 7-year-old, because that's what I always think about talking to. And I would say, okay, we might not have made it to be a doctor. However, having that vision kept us focused.
Mm.
And so I'm proud of you for staying focused. I'm proud of you for executing the vision to the extent that you needed to. And look at you now. I mean, I think the advice I would give is stay focused, understand that you are capable of doing anything that you put your mind to truly. Look what you've accomplished, all these letters behind your name. But more than that, the lives that you will touch just by being yourself, showing your brilliance, never cowering. Even though you're 5'2", you are a giant. You really truly are. So continue to just shine and say the thing. Like you've been always the person that said the thing, and that's so important for me to remember, because I didn't tell you this, Dr. Anderson, but when I was younger, I used to stutter terribly.
Yeah.
But I was so intelligent. And I was a student who was in the back of the class, and I used to just read. I read all the time. I mean, I read everything, encyclopedias, the dictionary, like all the stuff. But it was necessary for you to go through all of that to find your voice. And I'm so proud of you for using it.
I love that. I love that. I don't have anything else. I don't. But I will say that, yeah, I don't have anything else. I just felt that. I felt that in a place. So thank you for that. And I know that our listeners also thank you for really being so open and expressive about, and just showing that you love what it is you do. That's the thing that I'm walking away with. Like I mean, you are highly intelligent. You can speak on it with authority and integrity, but there is a level of authenticity and like honesty that is really refreshing. So yeah, I thank you. Just thank you for existing and being and doing the work.
Oh, thank you. Now that we're sister friends, you will know all of my friends will tell me, Jess, don't you cry. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna cry.
Same.
Thank you for that affirmation. That is authenticity is my core value. I do my best not to go in spaces where I cannot be my full self, because I don't know how to show up as anybody else.
I mean, it's like, you
Why?
know what?
And why I was created this fabulous way. Why would I show up as anybody else? And I did bring my heels. So
You
you
did.
know, I did.
Oh, oh, cute. Love.
Blue. That was the power color today.
Listen, you did that. You did that. Okay, you guys. So this concludes today's episode of Stimming in Stilettos with Dr. Tasha. Again, another great guest for our great show. And as we end every show with, please, you guys, please keep yourselves safe.